House of Pain, Jump Around, all time just classic fire record, man. Tell me that don't get you turned the fuck up, man. Even if you don't like House of Pain, whatever, even if you don't care for the song, tell me that song just don't get ish turned up. Still to this day. But this is an interesting development, man, about some of the background of that track and how it was actually a diss record. I had no idea. And just the thievery and griminess that goes on within the music industry.
Kriss Kross was out around that time. Hip hop was very jumpy.
Well, you want to know the Kriss Kross story is the reason Joe Nicolo gets shat on at the end of that record, who is the label head of Cypress Hill at the time.
We didn't know it was a diss record until we got to the end. It's like, oh, this is a diss record.
Well, Rough House wanted to sign us, but they wanted to give us like a ridiculously shitty deal. And even Muzz was like, fuck you. I'm not letting them do that. So the next thing you know, when I get called into the offices at Tommy Boy, I think all of us were in New York, the whole band, we get called into the conference room, they sit us down, they're like, all right, don't panic. And we're like, what are you talking about? They're like, don't panic. We're like, okay. And they play a record.
They play Kriss Kross record.
It's Kriss Kross. And I'm like, what the They were like, dude heard your record and he told this group to make a record called Jump.
Wow.
And we were like, fuck, we're over. It's done. It was obvious these records were made at the same time. Nobody stole it. They stole it from us, but it was obvious we didn't rip off a bunch of little kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't blame the little kids. It was Joe Nicolo. Even Jermaine was a little kid at the time.
Yeah.
They were children. They were told, make this record. And I was there. I was 17 with the record deal. I'd never had any bad. You never heard me say fuck Kriss Kross.
Right.
What do you call him? Joe the Biter Nicolo, grab on the Bozak, pause. Everlast, man, appearing on Talib Kweli's People's Party platform. I love that platform, man. Talib Kweli has some of the greatest interviews, man. Like, he just really loves the music. Just goes so deep with it. Comment and let me know if you agree. And some of your favorite interviews that you've seen Talib sit down with, comment. LP, who most people know from Run the Jewels now, who's been in the game forever. What was that group called? Company Flow, or I can't recall, but he did a great interview with him among many others. But anyways, getting back to this, grab on the Bozak, pause. I had no idea this was a diss record, and it's so crazy. You hear of so many similar stories like this where individuals bite-ish steal records. Just an example, you heard him mention Cypress Hill. I think that Nicolo, the dude who jacked him for the track, was affiliated with Cypress Hill at the time. The Ice Cube Cypress Hill, which turned into Mac 10 getting involved as well. That beef started from a similar situation where Cypress Hill played Throw Your Set in the Air, and Ice Cube made Throw Your Neighborhood in the Air, Like You Don't Care, which is a banger too, man. Both tracks go hard, and that's something that I want to point out with this as well. You heard Everlast, Whitey Ford, whatever you want to call him, say, we thought it was over, more or less, like Kriss Kross beat him to the punch, and like their track would flop possibly. That's what I took from it. Or like they would look like biters when really they got bit, you know what I mean? And it wasn't Kriss Kross' fault or nothing, it was the Nicolo dude. But at the end of the day, both of those tracks did crazy numbers and were very successful. So, that's how it went. But with Cypress Hill, I don't know that it went the same way, and Ice Cube jacked them, and it turned into a whole thing. Ice Cube ended up getting knocked out, getting his chain snatched, and there was a whole wild situation where it almost ignited, like, I believe, gang violence and almost like racial tensions out on the West Coast. Comment if y'all remember that. It was crazy time back then, back in the day, man. It's been covered on numerous like beef in different hip hop documentaries behind the music ish like that. But same situation there, you know what I'm saying? And we've seen numerous artists get called out for stuff like that, you know what I mean? And it just goes to show you on a different level, like, didn't Bill Gates steal Windows from the one dude? And then he had to put out and patent it before him or whatever, and then he had to put out the shitty Mac version or whatever. Like, never share a great idea, whether it's a song, an idea, with anyone. Even sometimes your closest trusted associates will beat you in the head and rob you, you know what I'm saying? Because an idea, an invention, a song, whatever it may be, can be life-changing when that revenue comes in. And people are always, like, time and time again, in music, outside music, just a lot of successful stuff, companies, there's similar stories where someone stole something from someone else, and that's just a fact. Drop it in the comments some other situations. Like I said, doesn't have to be music, just anything where someone got beat in the head business-wise. Like, let's talk about it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. The whole idea is to coffee talk it up on this platform with y'all, the good people of the blogosphere. And we might make a video out of something if there's an interesting comment or you put me up on some game or whatever. But regardless, I just want to chop it up with y'all. So subscribe, hit the buttons and the comments. But getting back to that, ain't that crazy the way that all went down, man? And let me know if you already knew that was a diss track. I heard that song a billion times, right? I love music. Music is a big part of my life, always has been, always will be. It's one of the many arts that make my life better. You know what I'm saying? Relieve stress, change the mood if you had a bad day, get you turned up. Like I was saying, how this song can get you turned, you know what I'm saying, at a party or whatever. Like, you need to get ready to sock someone in the mouth. You go take 5 shots and start hitting the punching bag with a song that just gets you amped the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Like, this song can do that. And I never peeped that before, that they were dissing on that track. And, you know, it's like Everlast, Whitey Ford. I also want to know too, what do y'all think about that? Everlast, do you look at him as a culture vulture or anything like that? As like very often white rappers, you know what I'm saying, sometimes there's been a stigma where they say, yo, that dude's a culture vulture because, like, for instance, like how MGK picked up the pink guitar and now he's beefing with Eminem. I'll link a video below if y'all want to check that out. He's trying to turn the Eminem beef back up on a whole campaign and everything like that. But he picked up the pink guitar and wanted to do this fake ass punk rock bull-ish. And, you know, now he wants to be a rapper again. So a lot of individuals look at him as a culture vulture or a fake ass rapper. But what did y'all think about Everlast and Whitey Ford sings the blues? You know what I'm saying? Like, technically he was doing blues in a way. A similar art form, or not really, but somewhat branched off of hip hop in a way, or hip hop is branched off of blues, or rock is branched off of hip hop. Like, all music is connected in some way or whatever. But I just wanted to know what individuals think about when it comes to Everlast, if you liked any of that Whitey Ford-ish, and if you consider him a true MC. And it's so wild, we were just talking about Eminem and MGK. Who remembers the Eminem, Whitey Ford, Everlast beef? That was a crazy one. And RIP to, I forget which member of Kriss Kross passed away. Man, drugs are bad. We've seen it a million times and on this channel. You know what I'm saying? Even though I myself had trouble doing it, whether it's booze or drugs, put them down, get sober. It's all bad out here. It's gonna end bad, man. Especially nowadays with all the toxic synthetic poison out there. It's just all bad. But y'all remember too, Nipsey Hussle, that this is a small introduction to that Nipsey Hussle music. I forget what it was called. Coming straight out of Slauson, a crazy named Nipsey, turned up because I grew up in the 60s or whatever. I feel like that had the Kriss Kross beat or a sample or a variation of it, which was lit. And you heard him talking about Jermaine. You know, he didn't hold it against Kriss Kross because they were just some young artists coming up, and a producer stole their idea and was like, hey, here's a hit song y'all can do, and gave them the concept for the song. They you know, we're not at fault. But he mentioned Jermaine Dupri because obviously he worked with them. Was that So Def even in existence yet? I believe it was, man. But Jermaine Dupri talked about being young and everything. Like, Jermaine literally grew up in the industry. He's in the damn Houdini Freaks Come Out at Night video. Was one of the dudes from Houdini Jermaine's pops or something? I don't know. Comment if you know. And did anyone like any other Everlast tracks or House of Pain? And speaking of that, I think DJ Lethal was House of Pain, who later was with Limp Bizkit, man. So crazy just thinking back on music. And that's why I love these podcasts where they dig in the crates and go back in time and all that. It's very interesting content. And like I said, Talib Kweli just really gives a great interview because he loves the music on the level that he does. And who else remembers too on that one joint that played during Menace to Society? I think it's on the soundtrack. DJ Quick was dissing Everlast. Maybe I'll have to do some research and make a video on that one. Comment anyone out there if you think that that would be an interesting video. But there you have it, man. House of Pain, Jump Around, all-time classic, was stolen by a greaseball, Joe Nicolo, the biter. Grab on the Bozak. Pause. Catch you on the next video. Look forward to talking to you in the comments. It's Coffee signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, y'all. Peace.